Rising tram, 4 hours of work, meal, sleep, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, according to the same rhythm. This path is easily followed most of the time. But one day, the why arises. Albert Camus, The Myth of Sisyphus. There comes a moment when the rhythm breaks, when the noise that held everything together starts to fall apart. You look around, at your routines, your work, your relationships, your goals, and something that was once invisible suddenly becomes undeniable. None of it makes sense. Or rather, it never did. You were just too distracted, too busy, too asleep to notice. It's not a crisis of failure. It's not burnout, it's not weakness, it's something far more terrifying and far more honest. It's the moment your consciousness collides with reality's silence. When the machinery of life, the routines, the systems, the rules, no longer hides the fact that they were never designed to answer the question that's now screaming at the center of your existence. Why? Camus called this moment the confrontation with the absurd, the moment you wake up inside a world that keeps moving, but offers no map, no explanation, no meaning. Just the terrifying freedom of being conscious inside something that doesn't care. If you've felt this, if the sentence, "nothing makes sense anymore," has ever echoed inside your chest, you are not broken. You are awake. Awake in a world that most people were never meant to truly see. Stay with me. Subscribe if this resonates. Leave a like to support this reflection, and let's begin. Because today we're going to uncover why nothing makes sense anymore, and what Camus believed we can do about it. This is the part where something shifts. The moment you accept that the silence isn't going away, that the absurd is not a glitch, but the default setting of existence, you stop waiting. You stop waiting for the universe to explain itself, for life to justify your presence, for some grand revelation to finally tie it all together. And in that surrender, not a collapse, not a defeat, but a surrender of illusions, something else emerges. Choice. The raw, terrifying freedom of choice. Because if nothing has inherent meaning, then everything becomes available to you. You are no longer bound by the scripts, the expectations, the systems designed to distract you from the void. You stop asking, "What's the meaning of life?" because now you understand, life has no meaning, except the meaning you dare to create. And that realization is heavier than any cosmic truth you were ever promised. Camus didn't offer comforting answers. He offered revolt. A quiet, persistent, conscious rebellion against the absurd. Not a rebellion that seeks to destroy it, but a rebellion that refuses to be destroyed by it. To wake up every day, fully aware of the absurd, fully aware of the silence, and to still choose. To choose joy, to choose love, to choose creation, to choose life, but not because it's meaningful, but because you are free. This is the real burden. Not the absurd itself, but the responsibility that comes with freedom. No one is coming to save you. No script is coming to guide you. No cosmic voice is coming to whisper your purpose. The silence remains, the absurd remains, but now it's your canvas, your raw material, your space to exist, fully conscious, fully awake, fully responsible for how you fill the void. Most people never get here. Most spend their lives circling the void, patching it with distractions, beliefs, busyness, consumption. But once you've seen the machinery, once you've felt the full weight of nothing makes sense, and going back isn't an option. The only way forward is through the silence, through the absurd, through the terrifying, beautiful truth that if nothing matters, then everything you choose matters infinitely. And this is the beginning of a different kind of life. One not driven by the search for external validation, not by the desperate hunt for meaning handed down from the outside, but by the simple, quiet, defiant act of choosing, of saying, yes, it's meaningless, yes, it's absurd, and yes, I choose to live anyway. That is the first act of freedom, the first act of rebellion, and the first step into a life no longer waiting to make sense. The moment you accept the absurd, you embrace freedom unlike any other. The freedom to stop searching for external meaning, to stop relying on illusions, and to take full responsibility for the meaning you create. This freedom isn't light, it's heavy, demanding, and deeply unsettling. Because with no cosmic script, no divine plan, no grand narrative, You become the author of your own existence. Every choice, every action, every feeling is a stroke on your blank canvas. Camus understood that this freedom could be terrifying. It's the burden of consciousness, the knowledge that no one else will give you your purpose, and no structure guarantees your fulfillment. But within this burden lies the possibility for true creation, a creation free from the chains of imposed meaning, a creation that is authentic, raw, and deeply human. To create meaning is to reclaim power in a world that offers none. This radical freedom transforms ordinary moments into acts of rebellion, choosing to love someone despite knowing love can hurt, choosing to create even though art may fade, choosing to find joy even if it's fleeting, choosing to breathe when the weight of the absurd threatens to suffocate. Each choice is a defiant whisper against the silence, a proof that you exist, that you matter, at least to yourself. And it's in these small acts, the daily, quiet decisions, that life gains its only kind of meaning. Not eternal, not universal, but intensely personal and immediate. A meaning that doesn't require cosmic validation, only your own embrace. It is fragile, but it is real. It is fleeting, but it is beautiful. It is absurd, but it is enough. Camus didn't tell us to give up. He told us to revolt, to live fully conscious of the absurd and still choose to live, to smile at the boulder's endless roll, not because it's easy, but because you refuse to be broken by it. This is the art of living without illusions, a life born from the collision between consciousness and silence. So when life feels like it makes no sense, remember, you hold the brush. You choose the colors. You paint your meaning on a universe that offers none. And in that act, that brave, raw, rebellious act, you find the only meaning that truly matters, your own. The absurd never leaves. The silence never fades. The universe offers no answers, no grand design, no ultimate purpose. But you are here, awake, conscious, and that is the first act of rebellion, to live fully, aware of the void, knowing it offers nothing in return. Most search for meaning outside themselves, in religion, success, love, or distraction. But Camus showed us the brutal truth. Meaning isn't given, it's made. You are the artist of your own existence, the creator of your own narrative in a universe indifferent to your cries. This freedom is not easy. It is heavy with responsibility. No scripts, no cosmic guide, just you, your choices, your creation. The absurd strips away comfort, but it also clears the stage for raw, authentic life. You don't need life to make sense. You only need to choose, to live it, to find joy, love, and creation, not because they solve the absurd, but because they exist as your defiant response to it. Camus' Sisyphus smiles not because his task ends, but because he chooses his attitude. So do you. In the face of silence, you choose presence. In the face of meaninglessness, you choose creation. If this spoke to you, if you feel the quiet rebellion stirring inside, subscribe, leave a like, and join me here at The Absurd Mind. Let's continue walking this path together, fully awake. See you in the next one. It starts quietly, not with disaster, not with chaos, but with a question that refuses to stay silent anymore. You wake up, look around, and for the first time, the things that once felt normal now feel strange. Your job, your routines, your goals, they feel mechanical, empty, like you're participating in something designed to move, but not to mean. You ask yourself, when did everything stop making sense? But the truth is, it never did. You just stopped noticing. Or maybe you finally started. The structure of life and the education, the career path, the social rules, the endless stream of tasks, it's all so meticulously designed to simulate meaning. It gives you checkpoints, degrees, promotions, relationships, status, each one whispering, "This is it. This is why you're here." But the whisper fades every time. And once it does, you're left with nothing but the brutal, silent question beneath it all. Is this really all there is? Camus knew this moment intimately. He described it as the instant when the absurd reveals itself. Not as a loud crisis, but as a quiet fracture in the fabric of everyday life. A moment when you realize that the repetition, wake up, work, scroll, sleep, isn't leading anywhere. That the treadmill wasn't designed with a destination. It was only designed to keep moving, and now you're awake enough to see the machinery running. Without purpose, you start noticing the small absurdities, how conversations often feel like scripts, how celebrations of success are hollow echoes, how achievements decay faster than you imagined, how the pursuit of happiness starts to look like a strange game. No one really wins, and once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. The curtain is pulled back, the set pieces are visible, the illusion crumbles. At first, you try to resist the realization. You tell yourself maybe it's burnout, maybe it's the wrong job, the wrong relationship, the wrong version of yourself. You try to swap the pieces, rearrange the puzzle, but the image never forms. The emptiness isn't in the pieces, it's in the game itself. The system was never designed to answer the question, only to distract you from asking it. And now, here you are, awake, staring into a world that keeps moving as if nothing happened. The same meetings, the same headlines, the same noise, but for you everything has shifted. You've glimpsed something most spend their entire lives avoiding. The brutal, quiet, undeniable truth. Nothing makes sense anymore. And maybe it never did. The reason life once seemed to make sense wasn't because it actually did, but because you were given a story to believe in, a carefully crafted illusion handed down by family, culture, society, a script, one that said, do this, achieve that, follow these steps, and it will all make sense. And for a while it works. You stay busy, you chase the next goal, you move forward, believing that meaning waits just around the corner. But the corner keeps moving. The story starts falling apart. At first, you think the problem is you, that maybe you just haven't tried hard enough, that maybe you missed something, you double down. Work harder, build more, seek more experiences, buy more, achieve more. But every new milestone feels suspiciously like the last one, satisfying for a moment, before dissolving back into that same unsettling emptiness. Camus called this philosophical suicide. It's when we willingly accept false meanings, adopt comforting lies, and drown ourselves in distraction to avoid the unbearable silence of the absurd. Not literal death, but the death of curiosity, the death of confronting reality as it is. We cling to beliefs not because they're true, but because they make the void quieter. But now, the illusion isn't holding. The cracks are too wide. The routines feel mechanical. The rituals feel hollow. The distractions don't distract anymore, and the question grows louder. If none of this makes sense, then what's the point? But here's the cruel beauty of the absurd. It doesn't answer. It just stares back. This is the collapse most never talk about. The point where the illusion burns down, but nothing rises in its place. No answers, no revelations, just space. Empty, terrifying, liberating space. The realization that the scaffolding was always imaginary, the narrative was always fabricated, and behind it all is the machinery, silent, indifferent, unmoved. And yet, this is not the end. It only feels like an ending. In truth, it's the first honest moment you've ever had with life. Because now, for the first time, you are no longer living inside someone else's story. You are face to face with reality, stripped of decoration, stripped of comfort. Just you and the absurd. The silence feels heavier now, not just around you but inside you. The noise of life, the productivity, the celebrations, the promises of success all fade into the background, and in their place, a void, a vast, cold, unmoving silence. The realization isn't just that nothing makes sense. The realization is that the universe has always been silent, always indifferent. The absurd isn't a recent malfunction, it's the fundamental structure of existence. Camus saw this clearly. The human mind is wired for meaning. We crave it the way we crave oxygen. But the world doesn't care. It moves forward, stars collapsing, galaxies forming, time marching on, utterly indifferent to whether you succeed, suffer, love or disappear. The confrontation with the absurd is this. The universe does not respond to your questions. It never has. It never will. At first, this feels unbearable, like a kind of existential betrayal. How could something so massive, so complex, so beautiful, care so little? But that question itself is part of the illusion, the expectation that life should care, that it should explain itself, that it should validate your existence. But the silence is not cruelty. It's not malice, it's simply silence. Reality being exactly what it is, and yet the mind rebels. It wants answers. It wants order. It wants the chaos to mean something. And when the answers don't come, when every attempt to fill the void collapses, the absurd stands fully revealed, not as an enemy, not as a mistake, but as the inevitable condition of being conscious in an indifferent reality, a condition that few are willing to face, but once faced, changes everything. This is why the feeling that nothing makes sense isn't a failure of understanding. It's not a flaw in your thinking. It's a moment of pure clarity. You've peeled back the layers and the stories, the distractions, the false promises, and now you see the machinery underneath. And the machinery doesn't speak. It doesn't explain. It doesn't justify. It just is. And here's where the turning point begins, when you realize the silence isn't going away, that the absurd isn't a phase, that this is the baseline reality of being alive and conscious. And now the real question emerges, not, why does nothing make sense? But what do I do knowing that nothing makes sense? And that is where the real work begins.